Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Ready from 80s Rise. We're back here at Walker Ford in sunny Clearwater, Florida, and guess what? I have something that's new with the iconic pony car. It's this vehicle right here. This is a 2026 Ford Mustang EcoBoost, and as you can see right off the bat, all new color. Really cool kind of throwback to the 90s teal style color. It's called Adriatic Blue. But before we get into this iconic car from the Blue Oval, let's talk about what's going on here. So I know you're probably saying, well, Joe, it's a Mustang EcoBoost. Ew, I don't want to see it. The funny thing is, this car does not get enough credit. Now, of course, anybody, well, most people would want a V8 underneath the hood of their Mustang, but there are people that, for whatever reason, do not want the V8, and that's where Ford has a second selection. Now, the funny thing is, going back to the 1980s, from 84 to 86, was a Mustang called the SVO, and it was put together by SVO, Special Vehicle Operations. It had a 2.3 liter turbocharged engine, actually like the great granddaddy of the engine that's underneath the hood of this car, and it put out around 200 horsepower, which for the mid 80s was quite respectable. Now, fast forward to the modern era, yes, we have cars that easily just go crazy with 600, 700, 800 horsepower, even 1,000 horsepower plus production cars. But in this world of high horsepower, this car just does not get the credit it deserves. And now, with this color that really brings me back to the fun and just carefree 1990s, I really think it's a color and a car you should take seriously. So why don't we go ahead, let's dive into this Mustang in Adriatic Blue and find out, is it that best new turbocharged sports style car that you should be buying? Let's go ahead, let's dive into this one and find out. Right off the bat, just love the way that Adriatic Blue sparkles in the sun. You got a ton of metal flake to it, and one of my favorite colors and favorite cars of the 1990s was the 1993 last of the Fox body, the SVT Cobra. There were 3 color choices, and there was a color very close to this one, so it's kind of bringing me back to that time. Now, the front of the business, you're still going to get all of the Mustang affair. I like the way they're blacking out everything on the interior of the headlight housing, LED headlights, LED turn signals, and daytime running lamps. You are going to get some fake vent, and I do have to zonk it. They could have easily have made that just a simple air curtain, maybe dropped an LED fog light in there, and that would have been just fine. I'm okay with the flat black. Sometimes I think if you put too much gloss black on the front end of a car, it just doesn't look right. So I'm okay with the flat black. And then you'll notice that little bit of a lip that actually enlarges as you come across the center. Now, as we kind of coast in front of the grille there, you have that iconic badge going all the way back to 1964 and a half with Lee Iacocca and the rest of the Ford crew coming up with the mighty Mustang. Flat black on your upper grille, fully functional, and flat black along the midsection with some body color, and then more functionality on that lower grille area. And you could see that lip I was telling you about gives you a little bit more aerodynamic superiority. But I think the color really works well on this 2026 Mustang. Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are. And I love seeing that aluminum style pony there. Just reminds me of the original horse from the original Mustang. Now, as we rise up, super clean hood. No heat extractors, nothing stuck on. You got a little bit of a bulge, goes a long way. And then as we come around the bend, one of the reasons why I chose this particular one to show you, because they have 2, are these optional 20-inch wheels. I actually really like these wheels. They remind me of a BBS style wheel, that V-spoke design, nice hand-polished aluminum, 20-inch wheel. Standard wheel is going to be a 19-inch. That's another reason why I like the wheel. It fills up that fender opening a little bit better. Now, tire size is going to be 255 on the width, 35 series sidewall, And of course, just like every Mustang before it, rear-wheel drive. No all-wheel drive, no front-wheel drive. And that's where I find it's interesting, because when we get down to the nitty-gritty of pricing, there's a lot of other compacts, which are smaller cars than this, that people love and adore, and they have about the same amount of horsepower or less. But because this car has the V8 option, a lot of people just take their broom out and sweep it underneath the rug. But why don't we continue down the side? You do have color match on the mirror caps, no flat black there. Love that way they work that side sill extension, just like every other new Mustang. And then of course, we have color match on the door handles. I love that Adriatic Blue, absolutely stunning. From the side, the proportions are there, that fastback Mustang style. Coming towards the rear, same story, 255 on the width. Now what's fascinating is that you have 315 gearing, and the even more fascinating thing is where a lot of other brands brag about their cars having a limited slip diff, this car comes with the limited slip diff already. So you're gonna get the power to the ground very nicely, and with a turbocharged engine, even though it is a smaller displacement, you can do things to really get the power to go through the roof. But I like the wheels. I think they look great. The silver, in a world of black wheels everywhere, some silver really goes a long way. Continuing towards the rear, you have that nice color matched Adriatic Blue trunk lid spoiler. You got your tri-bar taillight, and I love the way they flash. That sequential flashing. Even the Mustang badge on the back looks great. I think it looks even better than on the previous gen because of how everything is painted. And then down below, you are going to get that quad tip for performance exhaust. You can make it louder, you can make it quieter. It's up to you. You get to have it your way, just as if you were going to Burger King and getting yourself your Whopper brisket. And then flat black on the rear diffuser. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and get to that big controversial thing that's underneath it. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have hood struts. Yes, I know, no V8, should have had a V8, could have had a V8. Well, guess what? It's like a V8, just minus 4 cylinders. So what do we got? It's that inline 4 turbocharged engine, 2.3 liter turbocharged engine. They call it the EcoBoost because of the turbocharger. What do we got? 315 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque. Now, the thing that is actually more sad to me than it being a 4-cylinder turbo is that there's no longer a manual transmission available. That, to me, is a travesty, so I am gonna zonk that it's only available as an automatic. It is the 10-speed, 0 to 60 in about 4.3 seconds, quarter mile in 13.1 seconds at 103 miles an hour, MPGs 22 in the city, 33 on the highway, and the vehicle weighs 3,812 pounds. So, as you can see, you're still getting performance. I promise you, you go back to 1964 and a half, and you got your V8 Mustang, this thing is putting out more horsepower than that original V8. Just saying. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire it up and see what you think about the sound. All right, guys, we are inside this 2026 Mustang EcoBoost Adriatic Blue, and it does have some options because remember, a EcoBoost starts around $36,000. This one, you'll see, has quite a bit of options to it, and that's going to bring up the price a bit. You're looking at an MSRP of $45,000. Now remember, if this was a Mustang GT, and it was optioned the same, you're looking at $60,000. And if it was a dark horse, forget about it. You're looking at more than $70,000. Type R, Civic Type R, costs $45,000. The new Prelude costs $43,000. So just a give you an idea of numbers and what you're getting. I like to kind of compare apples to apples. But let's see if this is worth the apples. To the door panels, I love the optional two-tone. That space gray style color with the contrast stitching, all soft touch material, no gloss black. You got a good sized door pocket to where you could go to Wendy's and get yourself a nice box of saucy nugs and a Frosty. Now going from the door panel to the dash, you got that soft touch. The design that they did, I know it looks like carbon fiber. I'm okay with it because they're not trying to make it be like carbon fiber, and it actually fits well with the rest of the trim. The Mustang badge, the contrast stitching, even on the side here, they really brought up the level of the interior a bit on this new generation. Slide on in, it's still gonna be a zonk for me. It's that massive screen display. You got your 13.2 inch, all touchscreen, everything is in it, including the heated and ventilated seats. Now, I'm glad I'm bringing this up because your Type R doesn't have ventilated seats. Your Prelude doesn't have ventilated seats. So, like I said, think about what you're getting and what you're paying. I do like the fact you get a ton of auxiliary gauges. I'm all about the information, but to do your controls for your AC is a little bit of a pain to have to go on the screen, and you're gonna get your saucy nug fingerprints all over this thing. Let me throw it into reverse. Backup camera, they've actually improved. Where Honda has stayed the same and a lot of the brands have stayed the same, they actually improved the camera, and you do have trajectory, which is nice. And then we're basically right where we started. Working our way down, you got your start stop button, your quick access buttons, a real volume knob, USB-C, USB-A, 12 volt. The zonk is there's no wireless charging. That's, even though you could put 5 Twinkies here, that's great. But I'm sure some of you would like wireless charging. This is gonna control your 10-speed automatic, no manual. And if you're crying about there not being a manual, it's because people weren't buying it, guys. So if you're complaining, did you buy one that had a manual? That's my question. 2 cup holders, you get the same key fob as the V8 guys, remote start and all that. Soft touch, open it up, you got a 12 volt, and basically what you could put in there is, I would say about 5 stacks of hundos, because you're gonna be saving quite a bit of money compared to a V8, and you could put that money and just drive around. And then you could be one of those people on Instagram that flashes it out. They lay it on the ground, they put it, on a garbage can, they kind of hold it like this and cock their head sideways. They do stuff like that. I don't know why, but they do. So, and then leather, the two-tone, the space gray, the stitching, power on the bottom, still manual on the back. I hate that, that's a zonk, but you do still get 2 sort of usable seats. I say it's like 1. If you get a grown adult in there, they can lay down sort of sideways and ride with you for a little while. But why don't you go over here to the business end? I want to show you behind the flat bottom wheel in this Mustang. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do get 3 memory seat settings, but it's just for the bottom portion. Pedal box, it's actually quite decent. Aluminum brake pedal, aluminum throttle. I want an aluminum dead pedal. That's it. If they do that, they'll make me happy. Seat controls, easy to get to, just for the bottom. I'm 6 feet tall, lots of room in here. And then the steering wheel. The 2-piece leather, perforated, smooth, flat black on most of the switch gear. You have a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel, and then you have that 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. I have the SVT gauges up there, but you could switch through all your gauges, and then of course there's a cornucopia of different modes as well, and that's going to change the volume of the exhaust depending on what mode you're in. So kind of cool. You can live out all your video game dreams as you're going through your different modes. We're sticking it in track. But why don't we go ahead, let's check out the trunk, because I'm ready to take you for a spin in this throwback color of a Mustang. All right, guys, time to get in the trunk. What's great about these Mustangs, you still have such a usable trunk. You got 14 cubic feet of space. The seats fold down 50-50, and underneath, you do not get a spare. You get a can of Flat Fix and an electric air compressor. So that's the way the cookie crumbles on that deal. But why don't we go ahead? It's got the color where it looks like it's moving 1,000,000 miles an hour. Why don't we go on throttle and see how this EcoBoost Mustang gets about its business? All right, guys, we're inside this Adriatic Blue Mustang EcoBoost. We're gonna go on throttle from a dead stop. Are you ready? I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. It still puts a smile on your face. I get it. I understand why you could be frustrated with this car, but it's okay because they make the V8. It's not like they did what Dodge did with the Charger and got rid of the V8 and only made an EV, and then they backpedaled and now they have a Hurricane straight 6 twin turbocharged engine, and they're finally going to bring back the V8. So at least they didn't go that route. So you can't be too mad at this car. Now the great news is on the interior, you're getting all the same touches that the V8 Mustang gets. And when you compare this to other cars at that $45,000 price point, you're getting a lot more. I mean, it's that simple. From the interior material, the technology, and then things as simple as a limited slip diff. The only thing that's sad is you don't get a manual transmission option. And that to me is, it stinks and it's a zonk, but like I said, if people are not buying them, then why should they make it? I mean, you make what people buy. It's that simple. The one thing that is great about the EcoBoost is when you get it on a twisty road though, having less weight off the front of the car and just less weight overall makes this even more fun to throw around in those twisty bits. The 10-speed in the new generation has really been tweaked and reworked to give better upshifts, downshifts, and everything in between. And yes, when you go on throttle, it does sound like a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. They do try to kind of pump some stuff in to make it a little deeper. And I do think that if you're gonna go this route, get the 4 performance exhaust, because it definitely helps with a little bit of that exhaust sound. But let's go on throttle again. You ready? On throttle, here we go. Fast shifts. I like the fact that this one is riding on those 20-inch wheels, nicer wheel, a little larger wheel. I do have it in track mode. Visibility is great out the front, out the back. You got all the safety features, of course. And these seats are comfy. I mean, they're there for the long haul. They don't have a ton of lateral support, but most people are just driving their cars back and forth to work. So, I mean, this will be the more comfortable car to drive as a daily. Nice downshifts. Flips the throttle as it's downshifting, which is kind of cool. Keeps the chassis stable, especially under the brakes. Why don't we go on throttle again? You ready? On throttle, here we go! On the brakes. Nice turn in, less weight off the front of the car. Here we go, on throttle! So you're getting a bit of sound. Like I said, some of it is pumped in, some of it's coming out the back. And this 2.3 liter turbocharged engine has been around for a very long time. They did also work on steering feedback and steering feel. I'm gonna slow down a little bit here. And we're gonna go on throttle again. On throttle, here we go! On the brakes. Good turn in. Look at the grip we're getting. Nice. gets the power to the ground very well. Rear wheel drive, and you got the limited slip diff. Getting to the infotainment system is well within reach. I'm glad to say that because you're going to be reaching for it a lot. Because everything is in the infotainment system. Hopefully on the refresh they change that and kind of get rid of these billboard screens that they have. But you can still have tons of fun in this Mustang, and you have that classic look. Interesting thing is you're really not waiting for the boost to kick in. But like I said, they've done a lot of work with this 2.3 liter turbocharged engine. And then as you're driving normal, feels good. Seats are comfy. You're not getting a lot of drone out of the exhaust, which is a big plus even in track mode. You're just getting more, I feel like there's just more car compared to what else 45 grand buys you in the performance segment or the sporty segment. But I hope that this was a good learning experience, seeing the new color, especially in the sun, and talking a little bit more about the Mustang EcoBoost. We're gonna get back to Walker Ford and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. Another great day in so many ways. Always a good day being here at Walker Ford and getting behind the wheel of any Mustang. But definitely want to thank Frank Walker, Western Walker, and Tracy, get us access to their very first Adriatic Blue. Digging this color, digging it, on this 2026 Mustang. Now it's your turn. Let me know what you think. For the money, is this a great spec for a sport performance style car? I know some people would not call this a sports car. Some people would call it a sports car. Would you rather go get a front wheel drive import compact? Let me know in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit the subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Razor Eyes family. Got to get up to Stephen Flood. What I love about Stephen is that he loves a good V8 underneath the hood of a Mustang, but he also can appreciate other cars sometimes. But thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.